you're on.
So you have buy-in from leadership. Leadership has said go. What's the next thing you need to do? You need to assemble the team that's going to work with you on this project. And you need some very, very specific skills to make this work. First is clinical leadership. You need someone who understands the clinical demands of the practice, who understands clinically where the practice is going, and how medical home transformation is affecting the flow of clinical work within your practice. That's something you want to capture and tell in your story as you're telling NCQA about the transformation that you're going through. You'll need someone with good understandings of your operations, both from a nursing side and from an administrative side. You may need someone with both of those kinds of expertises. You're going to need someone from your IT department who really understands how your computers work, how your network works, what kind of information you can get from your network to be able to generate the reports that are necessary for this. And finally, you're going to need people with good computer skills. Now that might be a person, or that might be everyone on the team, but a lot of the work of showing the NCQA what you're able to do involves capturing things from screenshots and from reports and from other things that are generated from within your computer system. So you need people who are pretty computer savvy on your team to be able to make this work. Now, of course, in order to make a team work, you need not just skills, but you need certain styles of work, and it's really helpful if you can have styles of work that complement each other. You need someone on this team who is an innovator, because you're asking the team to do things that it hasn't done before. And you need someone who's going to be able to think a bit outside the box to figure out, how can I get that information? We've never asked for that information before. How do we pose that question so that people will understand it? You actually need someone who's willing to take a few risks, because some of the things they try to do are not going to work terribly well. And you have to be okay with that, so you can go on and try the next thing, to be able to gather all of the stuff you need to make the packet complete for NCQA recognition. You definitely need people who are team players. You need people who are going to help each other out, and who are going to see the goal of this process as the completion of the recognition process, and look for ways to help each other, because everybody's going to be pushed a little bit in this process. You need people who are good communicators, especially because you're going to need to ask lots of questions of your IT people, and the questions are clinical. So you need people who can move between those realms and communicate in both of those realms, so that we understand each other, and that we're actually providing the information in both a clinically and an IT useful way. You need people who are problem solvers, because there are going to be lots of problems and you're going to need to solve them. And this is perhaps the most important thing, you need someone who's quite detail oriented, at least one, if not many, because there's a lot of fine detail that goes into preparing the materials that go into your NCQA recognition packet. With that list of skills and characteristics, it may have sounded like I just gave you a recipe, a cookbook, if you will, of how you create the perfect team for NCQA, and believe me, that is not my intent. There are lots of ways to put these teams together. You're actually going to hear about several of them as part of this online course, and there are lots of ways to get there. So you should think carefully about the resources you have and develop a team that fits the structure of your organization, but is also going to get you to the end, which is NCQA recognition.